Alright, so I don't even know how to actually start this video. Like, as you can see on the screen in front of you, I did manage to solo the first floor of the bird boss. I was just messing around with Meli and I figured, you know what, maybe if I tweak some things on Meli's gear, if I like pick the correct card set, I could potentially, with a little bit of RNG luck, solo the first floor of the bird boss. And you know what, I was proven correct. Like, it works. You can see that in front of me. This isn't a doctored image in any way. I can reset here and like this is just in-game. So but before we actually go into exactly how I soloed it, like I would appreciate if you just left a like on the video. That would be honestly be super amazing. And if you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing for some more Grand Cross content. We are on the road to 5k subs, so if you sub, that would be amazing as well. But yeah, I mean, the bird boss is a very old at this point. He's over a year and a half old. Like, how long ago was it? Like 21 months ago. So it's been a hot minute since the bird boss actually released, and we do have some more and more difficult content on our hands, as you can see. But you know what? Soloing the bird boss, I didn't actually think was possible even today. Like, yeah, MELIODAS is the strongest unit in the game at the moment. He has 75k CC if he has like HP defense gear and everything maxed out. But did they actually think he would actually be able to solo one of the demonic beasts? Probably not. Like, we know that you can solo some of the older raids. Of course, like, you can most definitely solo the older raids with like specific units. You've been able to do that for quite a while now. Soloing the OG demon might not actually be possible. Like, maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't tried it out with Meli, but I'm assuming it's not gonna be because of the reflect. Like, you do need very specific units for it. Doing it with like one team and not having a friend to actually help you out, that is most definitely doable, but like soloing it might not be possible. Of course, soloing like floor 1, 2, and 3 of the bird isn't doable. Like, you cannot solo the second phase of the second floor with MELIODAS because of the mechanic of that specific phase. If you don't have a taunt up, or if you cannot do more than 5 attacks, which you can't because you can only attack 4 times, but if you do attacks that deal more than damage cap, then of course that is possible. But for MELIODAS to solo it, like, there's no way. He's gonna take the 10,000% additional damage that the bird actually does on the second phase here with, was it this attack? He's basically not gonna miss when the enemy taunts, or you need a taunting unit that can actually do it. So there's no way I can beat past phase 2, you know, but phase 1, I could potentially beat that, and we're gonna try that at the end of the video. But then how did I actually solo the first phase? Like, there is a couple of things I had to do, of course. Like, I just tried it out with, you know, just regular gear, just whatever cards that I had on, and I was like, oh my god, I'm almost be able to solo this. Like, it's not a lot of things that I actually need to do to be able to solo it with MELIODAS. Now, one of the first things I did, of course, was have Tarmil Grace on MELIODAS. You basically need that. You need the boss to actually get disabled. Perhaps that is not the best though. Like, maybe you can do it with blue Tarmil, and if you have the healing card set that will heal you. Oh, I cannot change it now. I do believe it heals you anytime you get debuffed. So if you disable the boss, then you cannot get debuffed, and the boss uses a lot of debuff. He's gonna like at least use 1 bleed attack on you every single phase. He is gonna like apply ignites to you on like the 3rd phase and stuff like that. So he's basically always gonna like debuff you, and if you do get debuffed, you will heal back. I'm not sure if it is at the end of the turn on that specific card set. I guess we could have a look. Yeah, so it's basically this one. If an ally is debuffed from a skill during the enemy's turn, restores 5% of their max HP. And this is not at the end of the turn, it is when you actually get debuffed. So this is very nice. And if you get debuffed, you will basically heal back to full. So maybe blue Tarmil would be better, but you only heal back to full because of, you know, red Tarmil Grace. So I haven't tried that out. That's not what I actually went for. But if that is what you want to try out, if you actually want to try this out yourself, that is potentially like what you can go for. Now, as for the gear, I did try out a couple of different gear sets. So I did try out HP defense. I also did try out like full on recovery rate. Full on recovery rate worked great at actually healing you. It just didn't work that great at keeping you alive. Like, you didn't have enough HP to actually survive the big hits. So getting ulted meant that because your HP pool was quite low, the ult would just kill you if you had like, well, below 70% HP. But as you can see, this was sort of the gear set I went for. So I went for HP with like regular attack percent sub rolls, as well as like the defense percent sub rolls on the middle pieces. And then at the bottom, I had the recovery rate gear. It wasn't perfect rolls, but I did have recovery rolls on them, because what the bird does is he reduces your HP related stats. I think all demonic beast does this, but he reduces your HP related stats by 40%. So unless you have this, like, your healing will be nerfed by quite a bit. You won't be able to live steal every single turn, and you might not even be able to live steal every single turn with this sort of geared set anyway, but at least it's there. At least it helped me out, and that is what matters. Next up, the artifact card set. I just went with increased attack. So of course I tried out a bunch of different, you know, card sets. The deer card set that increases your basic stats. I tried out like the the single target damage card set, I felt like this one was the best one because of course you get 15% additional attack, but that also means you get 15% pierce rate, you get 15% crit damage, and it sort of worked out a little bit better because on the final phase of the bird you actually do need to deal more damage. Like if you don't deal enough damage in like 4 attacks, because you do need to kill him in 4 or 5 turns, because after turn 3 you will actually be applied with a gray infect debuff, and what that means, like you cannot heal anymore after that, so you do need to kill him within 1 turn, and you also need to survive 1 full like turn on the final phase for it to actually work. So just increasing your attack so that you are able to deal a lot more damage. You will also be attack sealed on that phase, so actually having enough attack and being able to deal enough damage with your debuff card to maybe hit damage cap or very close to damage cap is sort of what saved me here. So that is sort of what enabled me to actually beat the final phase there of the first floor. But you know what, with the setup out of the way, let's just go over like phase by phase what you need to do, what you need to think about if you want to attempt this, or what I actually thought about. Now if you attempt something new in this game, or like you try a new team that someone suggests and you don't actually know the tactic behind it, just trial and error is sort of the way to go. But I've already done the trial and error, so I can sort of tell you what you need to think about. So basically phase 1, what you want to do is you just want to attack him once and then twice and potentially kill him, or it's gonna take you like 3 attacks to actually kill him. It depends on if he actually ranks up your cards or not. And yeah, like the only thing I kind of want to think about here is to potentially end up with having my cards be in the order where I do have a silver single target card and then a bronze single target card next to it, and then the ultimate next to that. Like that is the perfect card combination to actually go into the second phase with. You can of course stall out in the second phase if you want to actually achieve that, because you do need to have that before you actually go into the final phase, because you want to ult and then potentially get a merger with your single target cards so that you can get a gold card plus, you know, the 2 ult gauge orbs, so that on the third phase you will be able to get your ult instantly, and that means that you can ult the bird on that phase twice potentially. But phase 1 isn't really that difficult. You're just basically gonna kill the boss and then move on to phase 2. On phase 2 every time I just ult him. Like that's what I do. I just ult him. A lot of the times I still have like the bleed debuff if you don't want to deal with the bleed debuff, to have it like, well, chip away like, I don't know, 2 or 3% of your HP at the end of the turn. And of course just stall out 1 turn, then ult the boss. You will heal back more than enough anyway. But I just ult the boss just to, you know, save time, because you do have to reset on this floor quite a lot. So that is usually what I do. Now then, on the third phase, as I said, the best move is to actually get a gold merger. So you do need a silver single target card, and next to that on the left hand side you do need a bronze card, and then you need another bronze card to come in and actually merge into a gold card. That is the best way. Otherwise you're gonna get your ult and be able to ult on the third turn, which is suboptimal, but it is still better than nothing, because ulting on the third turn will allow you to have the ult stat before the boss actually ults, because the boss will ult on the third turn. He will always get his ult by that turn anyway, or most of the time, so it's not all a waste anyway. He does have a damage cap of 30% here, so that is something you need to think about. And also, while you actually enter into the third phase, you do need to think about like the passives. So the best passive to get is actually the first one here, because it is not going to increase the attack strength of the boss at all, because you won't be able to remove the boss's ult gauge orbs with MELIODAS. So this passive is just a blank slate. That's totally fine. The second passive is also fine, because the boss reducing your crit resistance and crit defense by 30% means that he will crit you more often and crit you for harder. But if you know LOSTVAYNE MELIODAS in his LR form, getting crit is actually good, because that's going to rank up your cards, that's going to increase your attack related stats. That's very nice. But also getting crit and ranking up your cards is going to increase your crit defense. So just having him crit you once will actually nullify the crit damage portion of the passive. He will of course be able to crit you a lot more, but the more he crits you, the stronger your attack will be. So this passive might actually be the best one to get. That was the one I actually got when I managed to beat the boss, because you do need the extra attack on the final phase. But then again, like not taking too much damage by having the boss not crit you with the first passive is of course also better. The final passive here is the one I always reset on. Like there's no way I'm gonna like even attempt the boss with this passive, because he's just gonna do too much damage to you. He will basically kill you on the third phase quite easily with the ultimate. Like it's gonna hit for so much more, and it's just an inconvenience to actually attempt it with this passive. Like you can of course do it if you want to. I just reset at that point. Like getting to phase 3 is less than a third of the fight anyway. Let's go through a play-by-play on the third phase. So basically the first turn here, you just want to attack him, try to deal as much damage as possible. He will, whenever he uses the single target attack card, remove your buffs. He's gonna do that every single time. You can of course get lucky by having him be debuffed before he actually uses that attack, so he won't actually remove your buffs. That is one of the like the RNG parts of this fight. Not just like the card draws and stuff like that, but you know, that is part of the RNG there. And hopefully he's not gonna use like the silver cards, because the silver cards are of course gonna apply 2 ignite effects rather than just 1 ignite effect, which means that you will of course also take more damage the more the ignite effects you have. And if he does the AoE attack, he will of course apply bleed to you. Now on the second turn, like of course again, try to deal as much damage as you can, try to get your ult by this point also, but the first attack he does is going to be a really strong attack. It's just gonna do quite a lot of damage to you, and it is gonna be this attack here which is gonna deal weak point damage, so that is why it deals quite a lot of damage. The second attack is usually like a AoE or you know the attack that applies ignite to you, so one of those two, and then he's gonna like disable himself again. And then on the third turn he is gonna use his ult, and also I don't know exactly what it does, but sometimes he has the Tarmogoyf's debuff on himself be removed. I'm not sure exactly what causes that, but it just happens, you know. But on the third turn you just want to ult with your ult that is gonna give you 20% all stats, so that is gonna be all the HP related stats, all that good stuff, all the defense related stats, you know. The boss is gonna ult you at this point. If you do have the bad passive, it's gonna deal a lot of damage. If you don't, like, you can still get crit, it can still deal quite a lot of damage, but of course if you do get crit you will have your attack related stats increased, but you just have to be lucky to have the boss not like remove your buffs after that. Like, if at all possible, if he removes them, it's not the end of the world. So what you want to do on the fourth turn on the third phase here is just to use a single target card that is gonna increase your ult gauge orbs by 3, and then after that you're gonna move into the final phase, and on the final phase you just want to use on the first turn, hopefully you still have some, you know, buffs up from the previous turn so that you can deal a little bit of damage at least. If you don't deal damage, you will be applied with a corrosion effect that's gonna tick for 80% of your max HP every single turn, so basically at that point you're gonna lose, so you do need to deal damage to the boss every single turn here. But you just want to attack with a single target attack, so you can get your ult. On the second turn you will get your ult. The ult will hit damage cap if you do have him 6/6, because you will always have like 3 additional Meliodas cards in your hand, so it's gonna do the secret technique damage. I'm not sure if you need him to be 6/6, probably not to hit damage cap, but it does help. Then you hit damage cap, you will get the 20% all stat again. Perhaps next turn you can get some more attack related stats that's gonna help you deal a lot more damage. But on the very next turn, on is it like turn 2 or turn 3, the boss is gonna apply you with a attack disable, so you won't be able to use your single target cards anymore, and that is why it's good to like dump as many single target cards on, you know, the previous turn before you actually enter the phase, as well as on the first turn of the phase. After that you can use of course your AoE cards, and because you do have the 20% all stat increase plus perhaps even quite a lot of like attack related stats buffs from his passive, you will perhaps even hit damage cap with the AoE card, so that is very nice indeed. And by the next turn you kind of want to kill him, because you will of course be applied with the gray infect debuff, and if you can somehow survive that, if you have enough HP, it took me quite a while. I did lose on this you know, this point a couple of times, but it did work out. It wasn't all that too painful, you know, but it worked out well enough anyway. And at that point you just attack him. Hopefully you have enough attack related stats buffs that you can hit damage cap or close to damage cap, and you just kill him, and you know, that's that. So yeah, that's how I soloed the first floor of the bird boss. I don't know if anyone has done this before, do let me know down in the comments below, but we are gonna try the second floor here with Meliodas at, what is this, 40% HP? It is what it is, but we are gonna try it, so let's just go. This is the live portion of the video anyway. Like the previous one was a pre-recording. I just couldn't sit through it and you know, comment over it, but we are just gonna try to do as good as we can. Gonna try to live steal as much as possible here. Hopefully make it through to the second phase. If we can't, like, that's totally fine as well. We'll just end it here anyway. But yeah, I honestly didn't think soloing the bird boss was even possible. Most definitely not conceivable a long time ago. Yeah, he just died here. That's totally fine, man. That's totally fine. But you know what? I was able to solo the first floor. It is doable. And if you want to, like if you do have a built-out Meliodas, you can of course try it out yourself. You can like keep attempting this if you want to. I'm not gonna do that. There's no way. So yeah. That's the Meliodas solo against the bird boss. Hope you liked the video, and if you did, do leave a like on the video. And if you want more videos like this, do consider subscribing for some more Grand Cross content. But yeah, with that, I think that's gonna be it for me. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a most wonderful rest of your day, and yeah, I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.